The man in black fled across the desert, and the Gunslinger followed. The Gunslinger by Stephen King is a book about a world that has moved on. A decaying, dark, dangerous, beautifully crafted world, and it's a cross between post-apocalyptic, western, sci-fi, and epic fantasy with a touch of horror thrown in. It's a true merger of genres, and it's the first installment in the Dark Tower series. It was inspired by Robert Browning's 1855 poem, Childe Roland to the Dark Tower Came, and although it's not a long book, it offers great opening tone, world building, and atmosphere for the Tower books that follow. The Gunslinger tells the story of Roland Deschain, the last gunslinger of Gilead, and his quest for the Dark Tower. In the novel, Roland chases an evil sorcerer, the Man in Black, also known as Randall Flagg, through a desert and some mountains, all in hopes that the Man in Black will have information that will help Roland successfully arrive at the Dark Tower. Roland doesn't really know what the Dark Tower is, and he doesn't even know why he's so obsessed with it, but he does know that he will do anything to get there. The story takes place in a world somewhat similar to the Old West in America, but in a parallel universe. The fate of everything, of all the worlds and all the dimensions of reality, may depend on the gunslinger and his journey for the Dark Tower. This book is grand, and it's the first piece of what has become my favorite story of all time. No other book or series has come even close to touching my heart as much as the Tower novels have. The novel is the introduction to an epic literary world, and it's a journey as much for the reader as it is the gunslinger. This is a low-end epic fantasy, but it does have elements of high-end fantasy within it. Magic, wizards, kings, demons, strange creatures, and a world in which physics and time work a little differently than they do in the reader's reality. There are weird machines, time travel, and interdimensional travel. However, this book and series have elements of our world within it as well. New York City, for example, is an important piece of the plot. I think that the merging of a fantasy landscape with our world really works out well for the setting. There's a lot of back and forth between time periods in this book. We get glimpses into the gunslinger's past, and not everything is clear in this first installment. There's also a lot of prophecy about what is to come, and you don't get all the answers. King reveals a little more with each installment in the series, slowly pulling the wool from the reader's eyes concerning the tower and overall meaning, and that makes it really entertaining. The characters in this book are really good. They are some of the most beloved Stephen King characters. The little boy Jake Chambers, who becomes somewhat like a son to Roland, plays a really convincing role. The Man in Black, Randall Flagg, who is a recurring Stephen King character. He's very mysterious and evil, and he was actually originally introduced in The Stand, which is perhaps Stephen King's most popular novel. Roland himself is a great personality. He's both hero and anti-hero. He's a truly badass cowboy, and so many readers of this series have come to love him. From the motives, to the dialogue, to the psychology of the characters, I give Stephen King a lot of credit for generating people and demons that are so believable. The believability of the characters is one of the best parts of this book and series as a whole, in my opinion. The Gunslinger is the opening of Stephen King's magnum opus, and there is a massive sense of scale involved. Background, scope, depth, characters aplenty. It is a huge and incredible realm, and if you're a constant reader, you might already know this, but the Dark Tower series is at the heart of everything that Stephen King has done. Many of King's other books play a part of and have an influence on the Tower series. Black House, Insomnia, and Hearts in Atlantis are all about the Tower. The Stand, It, Salem's Lot, and many other novels, novellas, and short stories play a part in this thing. In this way, King has done something to an extent that perhaps no other author has done. He's created one big literary multiverse that centers on and revolves around his epic fantasy series. This book covers a plethora of themes. There's so much going on. good versus evil, sacrifice, technology versus nature, destiny, perseverance, revenge, immortality, magic, Arthurian legend, and many more. King really philosophizes through his characters, and even though the mood in The Gunslinger can be a bit dark and oppressive, it's a great read nonetheless. The Gunslinger is the shortest book in the Tower series, and I know that many readers of the series have felt that it's the weakest installment. King did not have a lot of experience when he wrote it, and I do admit that the second book in the series, The Drawing of the Three, is an explosion of imagination and literary maturity, but I still really like this one. The Gunslinger only scratches the surface of what is to come, and it hints at a greater world. King revised the novel in 2003, and the revised edition cleans the story up a little bit, adds about 35 pages of manuscript, and helps it to fit better with the later installments. This novel sweeps you off your feet on a true adventure. I've read it more times now than I've read any other book. This was my 4th time through. It keeps you wanting more and more until and even after you've finished it, and if you're like me, you'll read it again and again, and you might even become a Tower junkie. In fact, I've enjoyed this book and series so much that I even got a tattoo inspired by it, the Eye of the Crimson King, which is a symbol used by the primary antagonist in the series, the Crimson King. By the way, guys, I summarized the entire Dark Tower series. If you're interested in a summary walkthrough of this novel or any other novels in the series, check down in the description for this video and you will see the links to join me for a guided tour. In fact, I used 2 tools to help me with that project. One is the Dark Tower Concordance, the complete concordance revised and updated by Robin Firth, and the other one is The Road to the Dark Tower, exploring Stephen King's magnum opus by Bev Vincent. These were invaluable tools to me while I was summarizing this series, so check it out if you please. I give this book an 8 out of 10 stars review. It really is something else. It's the first part of what is a treasure. It opens up a whole world of wonderful reading experiences, and I highly recommend it. And there you have it, The Gunslinger by Stephen King, one of my all-time favorites. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for more Stephen King and Dark Tower content. Constant readers, Tower junkies, long days, and pleasant nights, my friends.